UPSC CSC, State Public Service Commission, SSC Combined Graduate Level exam and also CLAT exam. So please do visit the AKS IAS Academy, which is one of the premier institutions in India. And about me, I am Sandeep Bhushan Tumala, and my credentials are: I have 10 years of teaching experience for civil services. I teach international relations and internal security, and also the analysis of the Hindu newspaper, which is part of the current affairs. And entire my discussion of today's daily news analysis will definitely be helpful for you in regards to cracking prelims and mains examinations, because I would be emphasizing on the keywords and the key phrases from the newspaper, that is from the current affairs daily news analysis, wherein the keywords and the key phrases which I emphasize will be certainly useful for you, because we will identify the factual, analytical, and conceptual questions which will be useful for the preliminary examination. So, thereby, by emphasizing on the keywords and the key phrases, we will definitely identify the factual, analytical, and conceptual questions for the prelims point of view. And for the mains point of view, we will emphasize on the answer writing. So this is the one which is the crucial for you in regards to scoring higher marks, that is in the mains examination, that is the answer writing. So definitely your answer writing has to be precise and concise, which is demanded by the UPSC, so that your answers can score higher marks. So definitely by imbibing the keywords and the key phrases, your answers can be precise and concise. And once your answers are precise and concise, certainly you will score higher marks in the mains examinations. Thereby, you will be comfortable in regards to making sure that you are to the interview. So definitely my session, that is daily news analysis at AKS IAS Academy, will definitely help you to crack both prelims and mains examinations for 2020 as well as 2021. And this session is in regards to the daily news analysis, that is today's 22nd August 2020, and my tagline which goes ahead with emphasizing on the keywords and the key phrases. This is the key for you to score higher marks in the prelims as well as mains examinations. So definitely it will be useful for prelims as well as mains examination and also for the interview. So definitely the emphasis on the keywords and the key phrases, which is my tagline, that is will help you in the both prelims and mains examinations and also in your personality test. So definitely now we'll get into the topic, and before I get into the topic, I would say a very good morning to all. Good morning to all, the one who is in the live and also in the live chat. And David, Ramesh, Rahul, D. Suvarna, Arika Yadav, Praveen Kumar, Chaitanya Veer, all of you, a very good morning. Shravani has also joined. Very good morning and a warm welcome to AKS IAS Academy Daily News Analysis. And the quote of the day is: it is about ability, it is about motivation, it is about attitude. So, the ability is what you are capable of doing. So you need to have the ability, you need to have the motivation, you need to also have the attitude. So the ability you need to have, what is that? It is what you are capable of doing. So definitely your ability is of capable of what you are doing and what you can do, and motivation determines what you do. So definitely what you are capable of doing is determined by the motivation. That is your motivation. What type of motivation, positive or negative? And the attitude determines how well you do it. So definitely it is all what is going ahead is what you would do, or you would do and here do. So what is that you would perform depends upon the your ability, your motivation levels and your attitude. So definitely what you do will determine about or determine in regards to your attitude, your motivation, and what kind of ability do you possess. So definitely your ability, motivation, and attitude has to be in tandem to your goal, to your success. So definitely let there be a positive attitude, positive motivation, and then a positive ability to move forward, that you succeed in your long-term goal. And Naveen has also joined, Praneeth has also joined. Very warm welcome to both of you and a very good morning. And now I'll get into the topic, that is 9 killed in Sri Sailam powerhouse unit fire. So we know that there is a fire and that has killed 9 people, including 5 engineers. So 9 people, including 5 engineers, have been killed in a fire accident where in the Sri Sailam project. That is a sorry, it is Sri Sailam Hydel Station or Hydel Power Station. So this is on the bank on the river Krishna. I mean the project is bordering the interstate. It borders this borders both the states interstate, that is AP and Telangana, and on the river Krishna. Sri Salem project, Sri Salem dam is being built, and from that you have the Sri Salem powerhouse unit, which is part of the entire Hydel station, entire power generation. So what is important that we need to focus is on which river. It is Krishna. Which project? Sri Salem project, that is state run Hydel station. And there the fire broke out, and there was a problem in the panel board, and the panel board has caught fire. And when we look at this unit, that is the capacity of the unit is 150 megawatt unit, 150 megawatt of unit. And what is that we need to focus here is, for prelims point of view, we will look at it at a different perspective. For prelims point of view, no doubt there was a fire which has broken out, fire accident, and we have seen 9 people and 5 engineers have been gutted, and they have been died because, or they've been killed because of this in the state-run Hydel Station Sri Salem project, of the Sri Salem project. And from here we will focus from prelims point of view, how it will be useful for the UPSC examination point of view. And if you look at this, the power is this Hydel power station, or we will call it as simple as powerhouse. So powerhouse wherein the power is being generated. It is situated on the left canal. This is very important for prelims point of view, because we will not really focus. Yes, no doubt we will mourn, and we are definitely in regards to what the incident has taken place is not the incident which has to take place. I mean, we have lost engineers, state engineers, and the one who are employed in it. But we will focus in regards to UPSC examination point of view. So from UPSC examination point of view, when we focus this powerhouse wherein 150 megawatt of unit is being generated, it is on the left canal. It is on the left canal of Sri Salem project, or Sri Salem project, or Sri Salem project. So it is on the left canal, and this left canal, the project, it serves to the requirement of which state? Telangana. Please do understand, this is very important. And also you have, along with this left canal, you have the right canal. Right canal. And this project also meets the requirement of both irrigation and project power in regards to the AP. So both, if you look at the left canal is for, it serves the purpose of Telangana state, and right canal serves the purpose of Andhra Pradesh. This is again very important for prelims point of view, how you need to segregate the issue or the topic in regards to again focusing on the UPSC competitive examination point of view. And this powerhouse has been set up with a loan. This powerhouse has been set up with a loan of 600 crore rupees. 600 crore rupees, which we have taken the loan from the bank called as JBIC. What is JBIC? Japanese Bank for International Cooperation. Why I am saying this is, again, this is very important for prelims point of view. So the powerhouse which generates 150 megawatt, that is left bank or left canal of the Srisailam power project, which produces or generates 150 megawatt of unit, is actually been set up with a loan of 600 crore rupees from Japanese Bank for International Cooperation, and has several inbuilt protections. So definitely they have the inbuilt protection features, but still there is a very big question mark. How did the fire broke out? I'm saying it, you have the inbuilt protection features by in the power station, that is 150 megawatt, which is being taken by loan sanctioned by Japanese Bank of International Cooperation. But still there is a question mark. In spite of having the inbuilt protection features, how could there be a fire which has been broken out and the 9 people including 5 engineers have been killed in this? So what is very important from the prelims point of view is that you need to focus that it is an interstate border project which is on the Telangana side. That is the Srisailam project, which is on the Telangana side, wherein the incident has taken place, and it is a state-run hydel station on the banks of on the river Krishna, and it generates 150 megawatt of unit, and it is on the left canal, which is serving the purpose of Telangana, and the right canal, which serves the or meets the requirement of irrigation of Andhra Pradesh. And the loan what we have taken from Japanese Bank for International Cooperation is 600 crore rupees. And before I get into the next slide, Jarsingi Hanu, Mastan, and then Madhu have joined. A warm welcome to you all, and then Praneeth, yes. And the project, see, these are all very important. What I am saying is that the loan is being taken up by JBIC, loan of 600 crore rupees. First point, and the project is fitted with generators and control systems. Please do understand the project, that is Srisailam left bank. Which project are we talking about? It is the Srisailam left bank hydroelectric project. All these are very, very important for prelims point of view. And in the Srisailam left bank hydroelectric project, the loan which has been taken by the JBIC, the project is fitted with the generators and control systems. So these generators and the control systems are developed by which company? It's by Mitsubishi Corp and Turbines. This is again very important for prelims point of view. Mitsubishi Corp and Turbines is the one which has developed the generators and control system, which has been fitted in the Srisailam left bank hydro electricity project. And you have the gas insulated switchgear. You also have the gas insulator switchgear, and this is manufactured by Hitachi. Please do understand this. This could be part of your prelims. That is why I have taken it in a very different sense, not just focusing on the fire accident, but no doubt fire accident and then state disaster management also will be involved in it to overcome it, and how they have really faced the challenges. But from the other point of view, we are focusing on the Srisailam left bank hydroelectric project. So our focus is on this project for prelims point of view. and there the generators and control systems have been developed by Mitsubishi Corp and Turbines. Mitsubishi Corps and Turbines, and the gas insulator switchgear in the electric project, hydroelectric project, is manufactured by Hitachi. And definitely when you have that, there are emergency lighting systems, but still there is no clarity. That is what the big question mark is, that there is no clarity how the fire accident has taken place, because it is equipped with emergency system and with a emergency lighting system, but still lighting was whether, now the question mark is whether the lighting was on when the fire broke out. That means whether this inbuilt protection features. Now the biggest challenge is whether the inbuilt protection features which are being installed, are they working, is a big question mark. And since last 11 years, if you look at, the power generation is actually going ahead with uninterrupted. That means there was no interruption for the power generation. There was no interruption for power generation even during the flood season, even during the flood times. So it was uninterrupted along the 9 years, and the total power generation capacity is 900 megawatt. But please to understand, I have said here the fire broke out in 150 megawatt unit. Please to understand, I said the fire broke out in 150 megawatt unit. Yes, no doubt the fire broke out in 150 megawatt unit. One of the unit, because you have 6 units which produces 150 megawatts. So 6 into 50, 150 is definitely the 900 megawatts. So how many units are there? 6 units are there, and in one of the units the fire broke out. Please do understand, in one of the units fire broke out, and the total power generation capacity in the Srisailam Left Bank hydroelectric project is, see if you can look at here, 6 into 150 megawatt is the one which is being produced. And we have seen that in the year 2009, the powerhouse on the left-right canals carrying water to Telangana MP respectively were damaged. So both the left canal and the right canal, which is actually going ahead with carrying water to Telangana and AP, that was damaged. So the last time which was damaged was in the year 2009 because of the heavy floods. Which the United Andhra Pradesh, then the erstwhile or the United Andhra Pradesh has experienced in the year 2009. Then we have seen a damage to the powerhouses. But since then, that is since 11 years. Apart from that, since 11 years, there is uninterrupted power generation which is taking place. So what is important is the Mitsubishi Corps and Turbines, which has developed the generators and control system. Please you understand, the generators and the control systems in the Srisailam Left Bank hydroelectric project is being developed by Mitsubishi Corp and Turbines, and the emergency lighting system is by Hitachi, and gas insulated switchgears is by Hitachi. So this is very important for prelims point of view. And then good job has also joined. A warm welcome to you also for AKS IAS Academy. And if you look at this, you have the Srisailam powerhouse is the biggest one. In regards to what? Is it biggest in regards to the among the 11 stations which they have. So there are 11 stations in Telangana State Power Generation Corporation. Please do understand. Again, this is very important for prelims point of view. There are total 11 stations, or the biggest total 11 stations in the Telangana State Power Generation Corporation, and the Srisailam Powerhouse is the biggest of all the 11 stations, and it generates 20 million units per day. It generates 20 million units per day, and the total installed capacity of the Telangana State Power Generation Corporation, please do understand, the total installed capacity of Telangana State Power Generation Corporation is 2441.8 megawatt. Please do understand. The total installed capacity of the Telangana State Power Generation Corporation is 2441.8 megawatt, and out of this the electricity produced only by Srisailam Powerhouse is 900 megawatt. That is why it is the biggest among the 11 stations of the Telangana State Power Generation Corporation. Please do understand, the total capacity is 2441.8 megawatt, and here in regards to this, it is 900 megawatt, and it goes ahead with generation cost of rupees 5 per each unit, and because of this fire accident there would be a loss of 10 crore rupees. And definitely there is one other which you have a concept called as reversible hydropower turbines. This is very important. You have the station is equipped with that is the Srisailam Powerhouse station is equipped with the reverse hydropower turbines, and what do? They go ahead with generating powers and they release water. This reverse hydropower turbines, they generate power and then they release water to Nagarjuna Sagar, because it is from Srisailam. You have next is Nagarjuna Sagar, and then further it will get into the Bay of Bengal, further Vijayawada, and then that is Prakasham Barrage, and then further to Bay of Bengal. So here they will go ahead with this reversible hydro power turbines, and during the slack time, that means whenever they have produced the electricity during a confined time and still you have the extra time, at that time they will go ahead with the additional power in the grid. There they will use the pump water back to Srisailam from Nagarjuna Sagar. Again, what they do is they pump the water from Nagarjuna Sagar to Srisailam. Actually, the flow is from Srisailam to Nagarjuna Sagar. Please do understand. The flow is from Srisailam to Nagarjuna Sagar, and this reversible hydropower turbines, what it does is it generates power and release water. Release water to where? Release water to Nagarjuna Sagar Dam. Fine. But at the slack time in the sense whenever they have the additional time, then they go ahead with additional power. Whenever the additional power grid was used to generate more of additional power, this by the reverse or reversible hydropower turbine. Please do understand the concept of reversible hydropower project. Whenever they are during the peak load times, they release the water, they generate the power. But when you have the slack time, that means they have generated the power, they release the water. Fine. But still what will happen is you have the excess time. So then they will go ahead with producing additional power. Through what? Through reversible hydropower turbines. How? What they do is this concept, that is reversible hydropower turbines, it pumps water. Please do understand. It pumps water back from Nagarjuna Sagar to Srisailam. From Sagar to Srisailam. That is from Nagarjuna Sagar to Srisailam, or Srisailam from Nagarjuna Sagar. It pumps water and then it goes ahead with generating additional power. So this is the very important key term or keyword. Conceptually, reversible hydropower turbines. Which among the following statements is incorrect in regards to reversible hydropower turbines, which is stationed in the Srisailam powerhouse? There could be a question, because they will not ask you about the fire accident. They will ask you about the other way or the entire technology which is being used, that is reversible hydropower turbines. And it starts from Mahabaleshwaram, Nasik you can say, Krishna, and then further it gets into AP, Amravati, Srisalam, Nagansagar and Vijayawada, and then it drains into Bay of Bengal. So what you need to focus is the river Krishna, its tributaries and the dams from which, the direction from Srisalam to Nagansagar, and reversible hydropower turbines. And the other news is that Election Commission not for filing nominations online. So what is important is online filing of nomination. Why? Because Bihar will go ahead with elections. So the Election Commission has gone ahead with giving an approval nod for the online filing of nomination, but with guidelines. Please do understand, but with guidelines. So definitely for the first time there are online filing nominations which are being taken up because of the COVID-19 pandemic situation. So to go ahead with conducting the polls during the COVID-19 pandemics, the online filing nomination has been taken up, has been approved by the Election Commission, and there are few guidelines which are also approved by the Election Commission. So what are the guidelines is that it is in regards to the public meetings and also in regards to the road shows, that all these have to be subject to the guidelines which have been prescribed by the Election Commissions, So as per the online filing of nominations, in regards to online filing of nominations, they would go ahead with the filing of the nomination, that is the forms. They would file the nomination files or forms, and also the affidavit, because they have to go ahead with submitting the affidavits, and the security amount. So definitely the security amount, the forms and the affidavit, they would file it through the online filing nomination. And definitely the guidelines is in regards to the limiting the number of people in regards to the when filing. So when they are filing, they have to have only 2 persons, nominations of 2, and the voters are also given the Election Commission guidelines with the gloves and the protective base. And definitely the guidelines are also in regards to the door-to-door campaign. Also. So definitely the online submission for the first time the Election Commission has taken up, so that they are going ahead with making sure that they are all subjected to the guidelines which are issued by the Health Ministry, Home Ministry, and also by the Election Commission. Especially Bihar Assembly will go ahead with the elections. And definitely now the Election Commission is also focusing that they should not, the voters should not exceed the State Disaster Management Authority, whatever they have also prescribed, or they have gone ahead with the guidelines along with the, I said, Health Ministry, Home Ministry, and part of that is State Disaster Management Authority. All this again EC has come up with the guidelines along with that. So definitely the road shows and the public meetings have to be subject to the instructions by the Ministry of Home Affairs of the state. Right? So this is in news, but this is the additional information which I am giving to you, because we should not just keep quiet or just not read that Election Commission has given not for filing of online nomination. No, we will look at the other part of it, is that is about the Election Commission of India. So you need to get in tandem or in tune with about what is Election Commission of India from prelims point of view, especially from polity. So Election Commission of India has been established in the year 1950, that is on 25th January. So this is important. So it was established in accordance with the Constitution, that is on 25th January 1950, and it is an autonomous constitutional authority. Election Commission of India is an autonomous constitutional authority, and it is part of the Part 15 of the Indian Constitution deals with the elections. Please do understand, this is again very important for prelims. Which among the following parts or subject to the elections in India. It is part 15 of the Indian Constitution, and it is a autonomous constitutional authority. And definitely it goes ahead with conducting elections in regards to the Lok Sabha, Raj Sabha, and then the state legislative assemblies. Along with that, we also see that the elections they take up in regards to the president and also the vice president. This is very important because these are all what the election commissions administers the elections in various, that is Lok Sabha, Raj Sabha, state legislative assemblies, and also for the office of the president and vice president. And this is very important. Originally there was only one election commissioner originally, but later on it has become multi-member or multi-member body. Please do understand, originally, that is 1950, when it was established, it had only one election commissioner of one, but later on multi-member body it has formed in the year 1989 by what? By Election Commissioner Amendment Act 1989. This is again very important for prelims point of view. Under which among the following acts the one election commissioner body was changed or amended to a multi-member body? It is as per the Election Commissioner Amendment Act 1989. Please do understand. Election Commissioner Amendment Act 1989. And which are the articles which are pertaining to the powers, functions, tenure, eligibility of the election commissioners, and which actually deals with the members who are involved in the election. So the articles which are involved are Article 324 to 329. This is again very important because it deals with the powers, functions, tenure, and then fixing of the eligibility of the commission and the members. So this is very important for prelims point of view. The articles, the act, that is Election Commissioner Amendment Act 1989, when it was established, that is 25th January 1950, and it administers elections to Lok Sabha, Raj Sabha, state assemblies, and also the office of the president and vice president. And there is one more news which talks about the sniffer dog cracks his first case, bison poaching in West Bengal. So this is again in regards to the environment, that is protection of wild animals, protection of wild animals. So we have seen that in West Bengal district of Jalpaiguri, it is called the place where this has taken place. This incident is Jalpaiguri district. So in West Bengal Jalpaiguri district there was a killing of bison, and that is also called as Indian God. Indian God. So there was a killing, or they have killed bison, that is Indian God, and this incident has taken place in Gorumura National Park. This is again very important. Please do understand. The incident has taken place in the Gorumura National Park, which is in Jalpaiguri district, of West Bengal. So there, the incident, the killing of the bison, that is Indian God, has taken place, and that has been made sure that they could find out who was the one who has killed it by a dog or a sniffer dog. It is a sniffer dog. Sniffer in the sense which smells. Sniffing is smelling. Sniffer dog, and this dog is called as Orlando. Orlanda. And this dog has taken the foreign officials, to the house in Tilabari of Mathaili block, which is part of the Jalpaiguri district, and this incident has taken place in Gorumura National Park, and they have found the raw and cooked meat and also the horn of the bison. So what is important here is the sniffer dog has actually helped the case in regards to making sure that the one who was involved in the wildlife killing of the bison, they have identified it. And this sniffer dog, it is the first case for this Belgian. So from where they have got this dog? I mean the original, it is from Belgium. So Belgian Malinois dog is the first time it has come up, it has taken up a case which has identified the culprits. Okay, Shiva Yadav says, very good morning to you, Shiva Yadav. Warm welcome to AKSIS Academy. Now is it clear? Shiva Yadav, is it clear now? Please let me know, others also. If the voice is not clear, please let me know. Ram Kumar has also joined. Very good morning, Ram Kumar. And this is in regards to solving the cases of wildlife crimes. So why I've said is environment or protection of wildlife. This, under this point, for prelims point of view, you need to focus this. So the sniffer dog name is Orlando and it is from Belgium. And this actually generally the poaching in the area which takes place in North Bengal are definitely for the rhinos, but not much to the bison. But nowadays even the rhinos wherein they have been poached, and now even the bisons are also been poached. And then the Orlando is this one, and then Shanna is this one. So there have been two dogs, the sniffer dogs, which have been brought in by the forest officials to protect the wildlife from being poached. This is what is important. Okay, fine. Thank you very much. And what you need to focus here is the Gorumura National Park, Jalpaiguri district, West Bengal. The dog, sniffer dog called as Orlando, and original it is from Belgium. And now this is again an additional information which I am providing to you all, because it is not part of the newspaper. Only there is a mention that this incident has taken place as Gorumura National Park. But again, for prelims point of view, because this is how UPSC will focus. This is how UPSC will focus, because the incident, you might be thinking that why sir has taken up this topic, because a sniffer dog called as Orlando has helped the forest officials. Why is it in news? Do we need to really focus? Yes, because the incident has taken place in Gorumura National Park, and you as a civil servant aspirant who thinks differently in regards to your preparation has to focus on the keyword, that is Gorumura National Park, wherein there could be a possibility that the UPSC might frame a question, not an Orlando, not an wildlife, but they could protection of wildlife, or else in regards to the Indian gaur or the bison, but the question could be framed on the Gorumura National Park. That is why I have taken this. So the Gorumura National Park is located in Jalpaiguri district, as we discussed, in West Bengal, and it is park situated in Terai regions in the Himalayan foothills. And there, in this Gorumura National Park, it is known primarily for the population of Great Indian one-horned rhino. Great Indian one-horned rhino. This national park is famous. Please do understand. This is very important. Is famous for Great Indian one-horned rhinos or rhinoceros. So you never know, the Gorumura National Park, there could be a question and ask, it is famous for what? Because you know that Kasenga National Park, which is famous for one-horned rhino, but even the Gorumura National Park is also known for its population, that is Great Indian one-horned rhino, and it has been established as a national park. Gorumura National Park has been declared or established as a national park in the year 1992, and its total area is 79.45 kilometers square. So the year which has been established the Gorumura National Park is 1992, and the other one which is very important again from geography map based or geography point of view, that this park, Gorumura National Park, is located on the banks. Please do understand, on the banks, that is rivers, on the river banks or the river banks of Murti and Raidak. These are all very important for prelims because many of the students will not focus on this. Many of the students will not focus on this. So Gorumura National Park is located on the banks of river Murti and Raidak, and it has vegetation of riverine grasslands, and it is interspersed by savanna woodlands. And it is declared as the, that is Gorumura National Park is declared as the best among the protected areas in India. Please do understand, it was declared, it has been declared as the best among the protected areas in India by the Ministry of Environment and Forest in the year 2009. In the year 2009 by the Ministry of Environment and Forest. So these are all very important for prelims point of view, and this is the entrance of Gorumura National Park, which is in Jalpaiguri district of West Bengal. I hope now you understand, now you understood why I have taken up that topic in regards to the Orlando, the sniffer dog. Sniffer dog, yes, you need to focus that, but what is very important is the Gorumura National Park, wherein many of the civil servant aspirants may miss out this Gorumura National Park, because there is definitely one question in the prelims in regards to the national parks, for sure. And on bioreserves, on national parks and bioreserves, there is definitely a one question in the prelims UPSC. So in regards to that national parks, this is also, you can add it in your list, Gorumura National Park. And state-run banks stare at capital shortage, again wants Moody. So definitely we have seen recently that Fitch and S&P, all these are rating agencies, and also I have spoken about Moody's also. Again, now the Moody rating agency is again warning the public sector banks. Please do understand, it is warning the public sector banks. Why it is warning the public sector banks, we will look at. And it is saying that because of the national lockdown, or else the damage in the economic activity, and then thereby again revival of the business has taken place. But it is not to that extent wherein India's growth or economic growth is actually surging or increasing. But the other side of it, if you look at, there is definitely what the Moody's are warning in regards to the public sector banks, and provided that will impact the Indian economic growth. It will impact the Indian economic growth. How it will impact the Indian economic growth? So definitely it says that there would be a slowdown in the Indian economic growth. Why there would be a slowdown in the Indian economic growth, and how it will hurt the public sector banks, and it will hurt the public sector banks. See, please do understand, because of the national lockdown, we have seen the slowdown in the Indian economy, or Indian economic growth we have experienced it. Even though the government, the Prime Minister and the Finance Ministry altogether have come forward to make sure that they help the micro, small and medium enterprises, so that the kickstart of the economic activity do take place. But still the Moody's are warning that there is a sharp slowdown in the Indian economic growth, and it will hurt the public sector banks. Why? It will hurt the public sector banks' asset quality. Please do understand, this is very important for prelims point of view. Asset quality is the keyword here. The public sector banks' asset quality would be badly hurt because of the worsening or aggravating that will again impact the Indian economic growth. So what is asset quality? Please do understand this. Because of the COVID-19 pandemic situation, it has impacted worst, or it has impacted badly on the public sector banks asset quality, and because of the impact, negative impact on the, or else negative impact, this is fall, negative impact on the public sector banks asset quality, that will impact the Indian economic growth. So now we will look at what is asset quality. Asset quality is what? It is an evaluation. So asset quality is what? It is an evaluation of assets. Please do understand this concept. If you are not understanding, probably it will be very tough, or you will be losing one question in the prelims, and also in the mains you may not be able to answer. So the asset quality is very simple, but you need to understand this. It is an evaluation of asset. Why they will evaluate an asset? So that they will measure. What they will measure? Extremely sorry. What asset quality will measure? It will measure the credit risk. It will measure the credit risk. That means a person who has taken the credit, that will be measured, that credit risk will be measured by evaluation of the assets by that individual or the entrepreneurs or the startup companies. So asset quality of the public sector banks will, or they have been worsened, and that is hurting the Indian economic growth, or it will slow down the Indian economic growth. Please do understand the linking here. The public sector banks asset quality is hurting, or it is slowing, it has come down. Why? What is asset quality? It is the evaluation of assets which measures the credit risk. So that when it is hurt, it will impact directly the Indian economic growth, and that is Indian economic growth is slowing down. So we are focused on the economic growth of the nation India. For that, we are focused on the public sector banks asset quality. We are focused on what is asset quality. Please do understand. We are focused on asset quality, and this is how you have to have that linking of identifying which are the keywords which will be useful for you in the prelims point of view. And this public sector banks asset quality, when it is hurt, and when it is hurt, it will result, when it is hurted, I mean when it is, the asset quality has come down, so it will result in what? It will result in sharp increase in credit cost. It will also increase the hurting of profitability. So it will increase the credit cost. So what the credit it has, the banks are, the public sector banks are having, that will be increasing the credit cost. That means the credit facility will be less, and it will impact negatively on the profitability of the public sector banks. Please do understand this. So the negative impact of the public sector banks asset quality is falling on the credit cost and the hurting the profitability. And what the Moody's are also saying is that to overcome this situation of the public sector banks asset quality which has been badly hurt, it says that the public sector banks to overcome this situation, the public sector banks have to have, or it requires 1.9 to 2.1 trillion dollars, or trillion rupees, extremely sorry, trillion rupees, or in dollars if you look at 25 to 28 billion dollars. So this is the amount which has to be pumped into the public sector banks, so that the public sector banks asset quality will be stabilizing, and once it stabilizes, the economic growth, India's economic growth also will slowly surge, it will increase, and this pumping of money, that is 1.9 to 2.1 trillion, has to be taken up in the next 2 years, has to be taken up in the next 2 years to restore. Why it has to be taken up? To restore What to restore? The loss absorbing buffer. So definitely, as we have discussed, that hurting the profitability. So it will restore the profitability. The loss in the profitability it will restore. And to restore, how much money is required to infuse? That is 1.9 to 2.1 trillion. And then in regards to dollars, it is 2.5 to 2.8 billion, and that is what is important. And the public sector banks are the source of capital, and these public sector banks, which are the source of capital to the market, please do understand, they are source of capital to the market, especially the small and in regards to the retail and small and medium, or else micro, small and medium enterprises, MSMEs. So they are the source of capital. The public sector banks are the source of capital. When it is asset quality is down, so there is a need to pump money, that is 1.9 to 2.1 trillion. Why? To restore the profitability which is being hurt. Because why? Because it is a source of capital, and thus that has to be plugged, that has to be repaid by pumping the money, and it will be done only by the government support, and for that it requires a large recapitalization. What is this large recapitalization by the government? Several months ago it has done it, but but still we can see that there is the profitability or the asset quality of the public sector banks is lowering. And Savani says that one-horn rhinoceros is vulnerable in IUCN list. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely, Savani. Very well said. And the public sector banks asset quality, when it is down, or it will deteriorate, which is it will fall in negative whenever the retail, as I said, and small and businesses, and the small and micro medium enterprises. So when there is a negative trend in the retail and the small business and small and micro medium enterprises, so this will impact, and the net result will be non-performing loans, and this will lead to non-performing loans. Please do understand, we are linking this PSB AQ, that is public sector banks asset quality, to non-performing loans. Definitely it will happen, and that non-performing loans, again it will be an negative impact onto the nationalized banks, again onto the RBI, further to the finance ministry, fine, further to the government of India. So what happens? India's economic growth will be hampered. This is the link. So definitely the money has to be pumped into the market, and we have seen the measures which have been taken up by the RBI is that one-time loan restructuring. I've used this keyword earlier also. Restructuring of the loans which has been taken up by the RBI, I said, but the entire norms and condition will be decided by the nationalized banks, I said, and that is what the one-time loan structuring which has been already taken up by the RBI is preventing. That is what that measure taken up by the RBI is preventing the sudden rise of non-performing loans. If this loan structuring measure, if that wouldn't have been taken into consideration by RBI, as of now we could have seen non-performing loans increasing. So thereby the concept, this keyword, that what I have also discussed a couple of days back or last week, now again I am saying that loan restructuring, that is you would restructure the loans, especially this is in regards to the corporate lendings or corporate uh, lending, and then small and medium, micro, small and medium enterprises, and also in regards to the startup or entrepreneurs, there the government has said that you can go ahead with this restructuring. Restructuring in the sense, whenever they are going ahead with the payment, loan repayment, that is installment, it will be postponed. Restructuring is postponing of the EMIs, so that because of the COVID-19 or the last national lockdown, the economic activity is not that too high, so there is not much of money for them to go ahead with the loan repayment. So thereby, by the loan restructuring, they can postpone their EMIs, monthly installments, so that they will not be as a defaulter. I have said this, they will not be as a defaulters, and then they will not be falling under the non-performing assets, that is as non-performing loans. So this is the concept. One time loans restructuring was taken up by the RBI as a measure, and that has really helped. It has helped, or else the more of sudden rise, more of non-performing loans and the non-performing assets or the defaulters might have increased. So this is very important, loan restructuring. This keyword is very important, as I am saying it. I have explained it in the past also. So definitely the public sector banks are the one which dominate the banking sectors. Public sector banks are the one which dominate the banking sectors, but they have failed to function properly. This is very important. They have failed to function properly, and in the absence of the credit support, India will face deepening crunch and hamper the economic recovery. So to recover from economic fallout or from the India's economic growth, if we wanted to surge or increase, we need to make sure that the pumping of money or to protect the PSBs is very important. Why? Because it dominates the banking system. And when it dominates, we need to make it very clear the public sector banks asset quality is increased. By how much? By how? By pumping of money. And the other one is loan restructuring. So this is what is very important in regards to the prelims economy point of view. So it is in regards to the economy point of view, asset quality we have looked at, and then that is in regards to the public sector banks asset quality, and then slowdown in India's economic growth, and large recapitalization has to take place, and then loan restructuring, large recapitalization, that is how much? 1.9 to 2.1 trillion. This is what recapitalization. You need to pump money, infuse money into the public sector banks, and PSB is the dominant in the banking system itself. Thereby, it is very important that recapitalizations takes place, and then that is long-term recapitalization, and then loan restructuring. These two are very important to make sure that the public sector banks asset quality is protected. And the question for the day is the global evidence. The global evidence suggests that job losses. So definitely nation is facing it, and we all know that because of the COVID-19 pandemic situation, India and the entire globe is facing or experiencing the job losses. And in regards to that, the global evidence suggests that job losses associated with means which are linked to the COVID-19 are much more concentrated among individuals with low levels of education. So the one who are having low levels of education and who are in the vulnerable jobs with no tenure and security. I repeat the question once again. The global evidence suggests that job losses which are associated with the COVID-19 are much more concentrated among individuals with low levels low levels of what? Education, and those with vulnerable jobs. So the vulnerable jobs are what? Which do not have any tenure, no tenure, or you do not have any security. So the job losses globally are showing an evidence because which are associated with the COVID-19 are concentrating, or they are amongst the individuals who are having low levels of education and the one who are with the vulnerable or in the vulnerable jobs which do not have any tenure or no security. Critically analyze. So what we have done here is we have linked the employment with education. Please do understand this concept. Employment with education. So you need to know that how education really will help or shows an evidence that there are job losses, and the one who are with higher level of education, they still, even at this time of COVID-19 pandemic situation, still they are having jobs or still they possess job. So the link between the employment and education, or else you can take unemployment and education. I think you have understood this linking, and this is what I say, that you have to link two different issues, and if there is, that is how the UPSC will focus. Two different issues it focuses, and you need to write an answer. So here it is in regards to the unemployment and education. When? During the COVID-19 pandemic situation. So we can again link it with health, with unemployment, with education. Health, unemployment, and which is linked to education. This linking capacity you need to get it. Fine. So I hope you will definitely appreciate this question and you would attempt it. And to recapitulate it, so we have seen the fire accident, but we have looked at, or we have focused in regards to the current affairs, focusing especially current affairs for prelims point of view. We have looked at Mitsubishi, Hitachi, the Telangana state power generation capacity, installed capacity, and then Srisailam Power House. What capacity, how many units are there? Total capacity 900 megawatts, each unit 150 into 6 units. So this is again in regards to the election commission we are focused. This is in regards to the prelims quality point of view we are focused. And the sniffer dogs we are focused in regards to the environment. Fine. And also in regards to the national parks. We are focused, which is again very important for prelims point of view. And this again in regards to the economy point of view, which we are focused on the public sector banks asset quality, and then long-term recapitalization, and then loan restructuring. These are the keywords which we are focused. Fine. And India's economic growth. So all this we are focused in regards to the economic point of view, which are very important for prelims point of view. So I would say definitely this was an informative, knowledgeable session in regards to prelims as well as mains examination. So I would thank you all and a good luck to you all also. And before you sign off, please do like the video, share the video, and subscribe the video. And that is of advanced knowledge system, and do visit AKS IAS Academy and also the website of AKS IAS Academy, and then you can also subscribe or connect to Advanced Knowledge System IAS Academy through the Telegram link of AKS IAS Academy. And see you again for the daily news analysis at 7:30 a.m. on Monday. Fine. I would reiterate once again, please do maintain the consistency in regards to your preparation. Stick to your schedule, and then make sure that you take care of your physical health and mental health. Physical health and mental health. And then see you tomorrow. See you on Monday, 7:30 a.m. And I would say a very big thank you to all. Thank you all.